Biohacking is a method. You're doing red light therapy, or you're taking a supplement, or you're walking outside, doing all the crazy pods and all these different things. Sure, it's a method. It's like the how. But then you think about longevity. This is the why. Like, why am I biohacking? Oh, I'm biohacking because I care about my health long term. I want to be healthier for a long time, my health span and my lifespan. But I want to increase my health span, the amount of years that I'm healthy. Well, welcome to Biohacking with Brittany, the podcast where science meets wisdom. I'm Brittany Ford, holistic nutritionist, biohacker, and mom. And for years, I struggled with gut issues, hormonal imbalances, and the exhaustion of motherhood while running a business. Biohacking and functional medicine became my way back to clarity, vitality, and trust in my body. And that's why I'm here, not just to share information, but to share the practices and perspectives that truly shifted my health and my life. Each week, I bring you science-backed tools, honest conversations, and rituals I live myself so you can return to your own body's wisdom and create longevity on your own terms. Because your body already knows this is just the space to remember. Hello, and welcome to the 400th episode of my show, Biohacking with Brittany. Wow. This episode is going to just be a moment of reflection, personal stories, behind the scenes, and I just kind of want to give you an update on things that are going on personally and kind of just like check in with everybody. I just, first of all, want to say thank you to every single person who listens. Thank you for all the downloads. Thank you for the reviews and everyone who has ever cared and been around. It's been amazing. So when I started this podcast, it was in 2019, and it was very much born out of this idea of I knew I needed a long form content platform. And I was kind of choosing between having a podcast and having YouTube at the time. And I didn't want to get on YouTube. I didn't want to like put my face out there. I didn't want to edit YouTube videos. And so I was like, oh, let's do the podcast. And honestly, the podcast was only audio for so long. Like now this is a video on Spotify. This is a video on YouTube. And both of those platforms are growing. But it was without video until like this year because I just refused to do video. And then I eventually added it on. And so it was interesting when I started, like I said, like it was out of this idea of really just wanting a different platform to share my love and my journey, my health and wellness journey, and everything in the biohacking space. So back then it was all about like Aura Ring and red light therapy and trying these new supplements. And it's still kind of like that now. And all of those things are more mainstream. But then they were like really cool because like no one was really doing them. But now everyone's kind of doing it. And I've, do so many other things now above and beyond that. So yeah, it's been such a journey. And I started it when I was living in New Zealand, had a microphone on a couple textbooks. I don't even know. And somehow convinced people to come on my show. Don't know how I did that because I had no platform. And I guess I just reached out to people on Instagram where, my original platform was. And yeah, just started interviewing people, and it's grown so much. I cannot believe I'm sitting at 400 episodes. That's insane. That's like, you think it's 400 hours, but it's not 400 hours. It's way, way more than that. It's all of the scheduling and the editing and the before and after and the planning and the production. And like, there's so much. And even though my show is completely virtual, so I don't do any in-person interviews, there's still so much that goes into sitting down with somebody, getting an hour of their time and being able to interview them. So I want to actually kind of just like peel back the layers a bit on the podcast side so that you guys can really just like know what goes on. Because I think of my favorite podcasts that I listen to. And when I was thinking about this, like episode 400, I was like, okay, do I do the whole, this is what I learned in 400 episodes and like share my top 10 wellness tips? And I was like, honestly, like, I don't think people care. I don't think they want to hear about that necessarily. I think like something more personal and more like less discussed would actually be interesting. So I want to talk about the podcasting side, and then I'm going to talk about more of like my personal side and health. So the podcasting side right now, like I said, it started with a microphone on a couple of textbooks. I wasn't doing any video. I was using the platform Zencastr for so long. Then once I brought video on, I felt like Zencastr couldn't really keep my show at the quality that I wanted it to be at. So we switched to Zoom for a while. Zoom is not great. The quality on Zoom in terms of, again, video wasn't great. And now we are on Riverside. And so hopefully Riverside can kind of like keep us going through this. And it's been a journey. So we we publish on all the different platforms, and making sure the quality of the video is good is like a real thing on YouTube, because YouTube only supports 1080p. It doesn't support 4K or 2K for videos of this length. And so there's a lot that goes into that to like making sure the video is high quality. And what else? I have an assistant. So I have a podcast assistant, and she's amazing. She's been with me from the start. Her name's Natasha. Shout out. And she does all my podcast editing. She does my social clips now. She does the show notes. She does so much. And of course, I go through everything and approve everything. But I could not do it without her. Absolutely. So she is the podcast go-to person. She helps with scheduling now. She's in my inbox. She's helping reply to emails. And we're really just like, I've really given her more and more tasks over the years. So if you are thinking about starting a podcast, it is way more work than you think it is. The average podcast quits before 7 episodes. 7. 7. This is episode 400. Okay. So I really think about like, do you want to do this long term? And the other statistic that I have always had in my mind is that the biggest podcasts in the health and wellness space did not become big until they hit about 500 episodes. So I have another 100 to go, which will go into 2026, which is totally fine. So we'll see where I'm at like a year from now in terms of the podcast and the stats. And so if you do want to start a podcast, like it's not just you hopping on a mic, you have to like write out a script. Are you interviewing people? How are you going to find people? Everything along the lines of that. So that's kind of behind the scenes. We release episodes every Tuesday and Friday. We have to make sure that they're on time. You have to set up an Apple account. You have to have a platform that actually hosts the podcast audio content, which we use Libsyn. I'm giving you all my details, okay? We use Libsyn, and so you have to upload the audio file somewhere. It has to live somewhere. And so that's where we use for that. I don't know if there's a lot of costs with podcasting. I feel like there's a lot of like monthly subscriptions. Like you need quite a bit of software to keep everything running. And then the more content you produce, the more software you use, or the more data or usage, whatever you want to call it, that you use that they provide. So then it usually goes up. So I don't know how much my cost is right now per month for the podcast. And then obviously I pay my assistant. And then my time as well. So it would actually be very interesting to run the numbers, but that is kind of what it looks like for us. Anyway, I don't typically charge people to come on the podcast. Like very rarely have I done that. I have ads and baked in ads, and usually it's like over a set amount of time. And even that, I've like scaled back how many ads I have been running lately, because I just feel like people fast forward them anyway. Are they even converting? No one wants to listen to ads. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at with ads as of right now. It might change again next year, but we'll see. So 400 episodes in, and I want to talk about like the style. And again, I don't know how much this is going to benefit for the people listening, my followers and my audience, but I think there is something to be said about honing in a skill time and time again, and then actually becoming pretty good at it. Now, I'm definitely not an expert at podcasting. Definitely not. Like, even look at my setup right now. My light in my room is like above my head. This looks hilarious. I have a whiteboard behind me. Here we are in Muskoka, Ontario, hopping on the mic, like doing the best we can. Baby downstairs with grandma. We're surviving. And I feel like there's still something to be said about showing up again and again and again. And then you actually start to see like, whoa, I've made a huge difference. Like, I've made so much progress. I think it was about, no, probably not this time last year. Like maybe just beginning of this year. I don't know. Let's say within the last 6 months, sometime, I kind of like stopped using a script. You know what I mean? Like so what we do is like before the episode, when I'm interviewing a guest, we will have like a document, and it will link to their website, link to all their social platforms, and it will answer. They fill out a form before they come on the show. It will have all of their answers, and then I have like specific things like that I get Natasha to pull out and relate to women, relate to longevity, biohacking, my audience, things like that. Um, and then if they submit any questions they want me to ask, that also gets posted on that document. So typically before a recording, I will look at this document, of course, and I pre-approve everyone before we send them the approval email to come on the show as well. So I kind of know who's circulating. And these are all of the people that apply, by the way. And then there's like the people I reach out to. And so I kind of like look at these notes, and I like just want to be so transparent. Like, I want to say that I look at them like and read and prepare for like an hour before, but I don't. I am a mom. I run a business and I'm busy. Okay. So I honestly, like, I will look at these notes half an hour, sometimes even 10 minutes before the interview. And I'm at a point now where I have interviewed so many people, and I have a pretty good base of like health and wellness and biohacking and longevity, that like I can just like critically think and ask questions. And it's so interesting when I switched to this method of interviewing, of being more organic, going with the flow, being open to wherever the conversation goes. They might say something and then I might debate it back, or I might pick on something that I actually wasn't planning on talking about, or we might just riff. Like, it's so different. But I have like general topics that we're going to hit on, and that's it. And ever since I switched to this method, about in the last like 6 months, the amount of compliments that I get from my guests is like probably gone up by 1,000%. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. So typically now, it's so common now. I get off I like close the podcast episode, we wrap up, whatever. And we're off air, but we're still on camera together, me and the guest. And they'll say something like, wow, I can't believe that was an hour. That went by so quick. Or that was so authentic. I love talking to you. Like, you can tell that your questions are so thoughtful and insightful, and like you can actually critically think, and it's just very surprising how many people, and like very, very experienced experts, way more successful than I am, and way smarter than I am, and people with very, very successful careers have like said these things to me. And it's like very, very nice to hear. And so back to my original point of like, that took years of me showing up on camera / off camera, but showing up, doing a podcast episode, and trying to create something out of nothing, and just going through the awkwardness of like not knowing how to talk in a mic and not knowing how to be on camera and all of these different things. And so every time I get those compliments, I just like feel so happy and proud. And it's like this moment of personal reflection for me of like, my podcast is not the biggest podcast in the world. It is not the biggest health podcast. It's not out here making millions of dollars. Like, it's not, it's at all. But the fact that I have these like really smart doctors and investors and founders and like being like, wow, that was one of the best podcast episodes I've ever done. Like, what? So, and that is not me bragging. Like, it's just stick to it is what I want to say. Like, when it comes to content creation, when it comes to building a platform, if you're out here on your podcast, on YouTube, on TikTok, if you're streaming on Twitch, like, seriously stick to it, because it honestly takes time for it to hit. I don't know, maybe there are like overnight like successors, but I just don't see it. And that's never been the case for me. I've just been out here like producing content for so long. And so, yeah, again, it's not perfect though. Like, I still say, and I still don't know where to look when I'm looking at the camera. And my thumbnails on YouTube suck. But we're working on it, okay? We're working on it. We're getting better. The show is getting better slowly. So stick to what you're doing. And that directly reflects healthy habits as well. I strongly believe, and I say this to my husband all the time, to Ryan, I say every single healthy habit, healthy decision that you make makes a difference. It does. Every single time you sit down and have a glass of water with minerals in it, that helps. Every single time you get outside and get some sunshine, go for a walk your dog, play with your kid, be active, turn the screen off, go to bed early, reduce the blue light, sit under a red light therapy bed, sauna, exercise, hang out in a community, take your supplements, pick organic food, pick organic cotton clothing. Every time you swap a product for a healthier swap, anything you buy for your family that's non-toxic, all of these little decisions matter. And people don't think that they matter. I literally just had this conversation with my mom. She was, oh my God, she loved her to pieces. Okay, like 2-second rant here. We have a coffee machine downstairs in my kitchen, and there's like a hot water spout that comes out of it. Okay. The water we put in the coffee machine is reverse osmosis water. So the whole house is filtered. Then we have reverse osmosis. We have it out of a tap in the kitchen. So then I put this water in the coffee machine. Then in there, I have this like called Armamella. I forgot the name of it. It's like this little stick, and it changes the energetic composition of the water. I might be messing that up, but I think that's what it is. Anyway, so that sits in my coffee machine in my water holder. And so the water that comes out is like, I try to make it as healthy as possible. And she goes to make tea. She takes my old kettle out of the pantry. She uses water out of the faucet, not the reverse osmosis water, uses it in an old kettle that is literally rusting on the inside. And I said, Mom, why are you using that water? Can you please use the water that's so much healthier for you? These little habits actually do make a difference. They do add up. It does. It's like 1% every single day. 1%. Just keep going at it. And this is what I've seen in my own health journey as well. So that's kind of a look at the podcast. 400 episodes, chipping away at it, and proud of how far I've come, proud of how much better of an interviewer I've become, how I now have a sense of confidence hopping on the mic that I did not have a year ago, 2 years ago, and even a year from now, I'm probably going to feel so different. And so it's interesting because for the first time in the fall, in like September maybe, it started reaching out to big guests. Big in my world, big in the health and wellness world. And people who I know I've known about for years, people who I admire, some other podcasters. And I was like, oh man, maybe they'll come on my show. Like maybe I am legit enough now, and maybe the show is big enough that they'll come on. And honestly, I did not actually expect that many people to say yes, but they did. And so now it's like in the last couple of months, I've had to sit down and talk to these people who are like, I'm like, okay, very intimidated by you and your success. And it's been incredible to sit down and realize how human they are, and us just like laugh and joke. And I'm like, and then they invite me out to LA, and it's like, it's just so exciting. So I think there's like so much good that is coming. And if you are producing content, if you're making healthier choices, keep going. Every little one counts. Every little piece of content counts. You are building something and you are becoming healthier if you're talking about healthy habits. On the personal side, I had a baby 15 months ago, and I've talked a lot about this on the show. From like first trimester to second, third, my birth story, all of these things, non-toxic baby registry, which is coming out, I think this week, finally, as a free download for everybody listening and my entire community. It'll be on my website. Um, Having a baby has changed everything. Like and I think that's actually part of why I have more confidence now hopping on the mic or in any work that I do, because I don't have the time to care. And when you have a kid, your priorities completely change. And so when someone gets upset about something about the podcast, or it's like not produced perfectly, it's kind of like, okay, great. We'll do better next time. Let's move on. Like there's just so much else going on now that you can't, I don't know, like you can't get too upset about the details or anything like that. Yeah. And I think as well, like now after giving birth and breastfeeding and everything, like when I sit down with these experts, it's like, it's definitely intimidating, but it's also this moment of I'm less in my head. I'm less selfish. It's less about me. And I, I don't know, like I just, it's like a really good question of like, how do you describe it? Like, it just gives you this sense of like, I can do hard things. My priorities are my family. If this doesn't go well, I will just walk away. So what? And then I'm going to go hang out with my kid. Like, it just really gives you perspective every single day. And so as well, like something that I've been dealing with a lot in the last like month is unreliable childcare, because my mom has been moving to our town and she just moved in this week. So I've had to cancel a ton of interviews. And, sometimes people get mad at me in my emails. But at the end of the day, it's like, I don't have the energy to sit down and do an interview with your guest. And I'm not going to extend even more energy out if I don't feel good about it. And also, if I don't have childcare, how am I supposed to do it? Like, what, you think my 15-month is going to just like chill on the side here and let me do a podcast interview and like be able to focus? No, it doesn't work like that. So, and I also try not to go on screens in front of him. Yeah, I have no shame in canceling. I cancel last minute. I reschedule last minute. It's literally in my email signature. I am working part-time. That's not true. I work full-time, but I work really weird hours. I have a baby at home. Things change. It's also in my link, and this is a shout out and a recommendation to every new parent or every mom who's running a business. Put it in your email. Put it in your email at the bottom. The amount of people who I've said is like, oh my gosh, thank you so much for telling me in your email that like it could take a few days for you to get back to me because you have like a newborn or you have a baby or a toddler at home, like, and you're not working 9 to 5. Thank you so much. Like people literally write that in their emails to me because I'm just letting people know, like, it can take days. Your email is not a priority. It's not. It's not. And so yeah, you give a lot less shits once you become a parent, which is a beautiful thing, and a very necessary thing. Like becoming a mother has made me have to really just be grounded. It's also the only thing that has made me stick to meditation in my entire life because I've needed to come inward to be better outward. Yeah, that like actually makes me want to cry. It's like, it's the mental component of it. And I think I might need to do a podcast episode on this, is like been surprisingly challenging. I think I might have gone through a stage of like postpartum anxiety. And I have not really talked about that on the show, not directly, not in those words. But I do think it is something I should talk about and like really get into and explain what that looked like. Because I was very aware of postpartum depression and even postpartum depletion, which happens to most women. But the anxiety standpoint, I wasn't really like aware that that was actually like a different thing that presented differently than postpartum depression. And so, yeah, I think that is something that I should like spend time and like talk about because I think it would help the other women listening and how I got through it. And it's like definitely not an easy topic to talk about, but maybe I will do that next on my next solo episode. And so moving forward, I want to like what's coming up in 2026. Should I just tell you everything? Maybe I should. So I'm thinking about changing the name of the podcast. I'm thinking about changing the name of the podcast. I'm just going to say it. Hear me out. Okay. Biohacking with Brittany, Biohacking Brittany is great because it's an alliteration. Sure. It's great because it's got a lot of SEO now. It's got a lot of backlinks. It's been around. It's tagged everywhere like years. However, the word biohacking is something that I just feel like I've outgrown. I feel like I have moved into a space more now of like women's health and longevity. And I'm studying longevity medicine. I'm studying to be board certified in longevity medicine at A4M. So for me, I feel like longevity is something I'm more drawn to and makes more sense. And what's also interesting is like when I dissect that is like biohacking is a method. It's like, okay, so like you're doing red light therapy, or you're taking a supplement, or you're walking outside, or you're doing all the crazy pods and all these different things. Sure. It's a method. It's like the how. But then you think about longevity and it's like, okay, this is the why. Like, why am I biohacking? Oh, I'm biohacking because I care about my health long term. I want to be healthier for a long time. My health span and my lifespan. But I want to increase my health span, the amount of years that I'm healthy. I want to have a healthier second half. Right. And so that's the why. And if I go back into my health story, like when I really, like in the beginning, got interested in health and wellness, like really, 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 really. Like when I was a teenager and I went through a whole bunch of health issues, we found out I had leaky gut and parasites. My hair was falling out and I was like hormonal chaos, bunch of other things. And then I like started learning about like naturopathic medicine and health and wellness. And it was before wellness was wellness today, for sure. We're talking like that was oh my gosh, that was a long time ago. Wow. I graduated high school in 2011, graduated university in 2015. Is that right? Yeah. So it was around that time. And I think that, I don't know, I got to a point where I got so interested in like natural health and supplements and nutrition. And then I studied to be a nutritionist. But a big driver for me was always looking at my parents and looking at other people who were older around me and looking at their health and really, really not wanting to become like that, to be honest. And what do I specifically mean by that is I think that, yeah, like I am like totally open to talk about it. Like my dad is overweight and has mental health struggles and issues. And I've had to support him in pretty crazy ways in my life from a very young age. And that is something I haven't talked about a lot on the podcast, and maybe I should. But I've seen my dad go through depression. He has, he can be bipolar. He's a narcissist. Some really hard things. And he's overweight in a substantial way. And his blood biomarkers aren't great. Now, he's still a great dad in some ways, and he's there for me in different ways, and he's a great grandfather, and like we still have a great relationship. He's in my life. He's coming over this weekend. Like, we've worked through a lot. But, seeing that when I was a teenager in the last, 15 years, has really made me think like, okay, I don't want to end up in that space. And then I look at my mom, and my mom is like rubbing her joints today after hanging out with Callahan because her thumbs hurt, because she has osteoporosis developing in her joints. She had her, did she have her full uterus removed? Yeah, she had a partial hysterectomy. She had a ton of hormonal issues around menopause and after menopause. She had a partial hysterectomy. And again, I look at that, and I've looked at that from a young age and thought, no, I can't. That can't be me. I'm not about to I'm not about to rely on my children in a way that I don't think is appropriate. And I'm also not about to like be a burden on them because of my own health choices. And at the time, this is like all happening like behind the scenes, right? It's like formulating in the subconscious. And now we have this word longevity, and it's like, oh, okay. So now I'm actually putting a name to the thing that I'm working towards. Whereas before it was like, oh, I'm working towards being healthier my whole entire life because I don't want to be like the people I see around me. And now it's like, oh, this is longevity. And I think biohacking is a method towards longevity. I don't think it's the only thing. I think there's a lot. There's like your spirit, your soul, your community. There's a lot more that I've been unpacking in the last year on this podcast. And so biohacking with Brittany, the name, I think I'm just outgrowing it. And so I think in 2026, we will do a rebrand to a new name. And I already have the new name, but I won't tell you. But it's coming. And so this is just something that I think is, I think is something that's needed in my own evolution of my life. And I say we, it's like me over here. Who is we? I am also launching a online membership community. It's actually already launched, and there are people in there. I think there's like 40 women in there, which is amazing. And so this is going to be more public in the next couple of weeks as we roll it out. With my marketing team is helping me. And this is really cool because I'm doing like mini private podcasts in this space where guests actually get to guests get to answer questions from the members. So you can pre-submit a question, and then I will read it to the guest, and the guest will answer, and then it'll be posted. So it's not live, but you can ask the questions ahead of time. And this is like so sick because you actually get access to people that you would never, or like very unlikely, get access to. So like I just did one on vaccines, and I got to ask Dr. Joel Gator Warsh some serious questions about vaccines and Tylenol and all these different things. And those questions came from my community. So they got to be like, okay, my kid is like this. Like, what do you think about that? And it's obviously not just for moms, it's for women in general, women of all stages of life. And that's the point of longevity is like, from puberty to menopause and beyond is like, how do we support women's health? And this community is part of that overall trend initiative that we're seeing in the space now. And I'm just so excited to actually be developing it now before I get to perimenopause and menopause, because I hope we will just have like so much momentum and a bigger audience and bigger space by then. So that's dropping in the next couple of weeks. The podcast will be rebranded and have an update probably next year. I don't know. I'm going to take some time to really like think about it and think about how it's all going to come together. I've also started retreats. So my first retreat is in Costa Rica. It is in March, and I think it's 50% full now, which is incredible. I'm meeting with a couple of the women this week for our welcome calls. And this is the chance for you and I to hang out in person and really dive deep into your health. So I'm going to walk through 4 different workshops over the course of 5 nights, 6 days. We're going to do 4 different workshops, And we're going to do a cacao ceremony, meditation, breathwork, functional movement class, massage, IVs, all of the cool biohacking longevity stuff. And there's like this epic spa that you can add on whatever you want. Like they even have exosomes and stem cells, which is so cool. So we're going to be doing all of that in Costa Rica, in the mountains, in the Crystal Mountains. And I cannot wait just to do that. I'm actually going on my own retreat this Sunday for 3 nights. And so I'm leaving my baby for my own retreat, which will be really great as well. So if you are being called to meet me in Costa Rica in person, I would love to have you. I'd love to see you there. And I think it's very interesting, the women who are in my DMs talking to me about it, because they say things like, oh, I keep coming back to your retreat again and again and again in my head. And I'm like, that is your future self telling you that there is something waiting for you in Costa Rica that you need for the next evolution of yourself, that you need to learn, that you need to be open to, that is going to transform your life and your health. There's a reason that like we get exposed to these events and these ideas and opportunities, and some of them stick and some of them we forget about. I think anything that you remember that like you're triggered by and you're like, oh my God, okay, yeah, I want to hang out with Brittany because she gets it. She gets it. Like that is from your future self. That is the world, the universe, the source, whatever you want to call it. God, sure. Whatever it is, saying this is where you need to be. So I know there's a couple of you out there who are thinking that. You can sign up for my retreat on my website. But yeah, we're already at 50% full and it's beginning of November. So it's going to be filled by the end of the year for sure, which will be amazing, which will be so amazing. And I've been sending all my gifts to all of the women as well. I don't have my molecular hydrogen water bottle with me. My husband gave it to him on his trip, on his work trip, he's on a retreat. Oh my gosh, he is on a retreat as well. And I've convinced him to get on the molecular hydrogen brand or bandwagon with me. So I'm going to get him a bottle as well. But that is what I'm giving guests as a welcome gift, which is a very nice welcome gift, by the way. It's $500. So, but listen, huge, so good for mitochondria, so good for your health, anti-inflammatory, and there's so much research coming out about it. So this is the end of my episode. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for being here for 400 episodes. Please subscribe, leave a review. Reach out to me if you want to come on the show or you know someone, or you have an idea of somebody you would like me to interview. I am booking 2026 right now, and so I would absolutely love to like hear your thoughts of anyone who you think is amazing and would be really great on the show. You can check out everything that I've talked about at biohackingbrittany.com. I am most active on Instagram at biohackingbrittany and on TikTok. And I've been vlogging on TikTok lately for health and travel. I didn't even talk about travel. Oh my gosh. We're leaving in 5 weeks. We are traveling for 4 months. We're going south. And people are like, south where? And I'm like, oh, okay, good point. We're going to Panama. We do Panama, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, and then Mexico. A month in every country. And so mostly Central America. And we are looking for the healthiest place to raise a family. So I already have a feeling of where we're going to end up, but I'm not going to say it. But anyway, that is what's coming, and that's what I've been vlogging about on TikTok. So if you want to be a part of that, if you want to do that with your family and you want to travel and not be in North America with me, maybe you can come and join me in Mexico or wherever we go. Thank you so much, and I will catch you soon for another episode. Thank you for listening to Biohacking with Brittany. I hope today's conversation gave you something to take into your own life, a practice, a perspective, or simply a reminder to trust your body. If you love this episode, please leave a review, share it with someone else who could benefit, and join me over on Instagram at biohackingbrittany for more. And if you're ready to go deeper, you can explore my retreats, community, favorite tools, all linked for you in the show notes. Until next time, remember, your body already knows.